Hello and welcome to the Little Minds Big Ideas podcast with the Early Years Network.
We're getting worse at podcasts.
That's a good line to start with. We're really shit at this.
This is the second time in like 3 podcasts that we've had to
restart because of the mics.
At least we're only 7 minutes in this time.
Oh, like 25.
No.
Hello everyone, we're back from Cornwall.
Howdy, y'all.
We are back. We had a lovely week away. We only had 1 day of rain.
It was good actually. Full of Cornish pasties.
Full of scones.
Full of cod and chips.
I had sausage and chips.
In the coddy shack.
In the coddy shack. It was a lovely week. We needed a little reset, didn't we?
It was nice. What was your highlight of the week, Emily?
I liked Padstow.
Padstow.
Because we kind of stayed in the middle of nowhere and then drove around. So we didn't stay in like a seaside town.
It was so funny. We drove into Padstow. Like we literally drove into Padstow. We hadn't even made it into the car park yet. And Emily was like, oh my God, that's Rick Stein.
I definitely saw Rick Stein. 100%. Probably away on holidays away. It was a bright pink t-shirt.
Probably never goes to Padstow anymore.
Probably not.
I tell you what, Rick Stein's he's
taking
cornered
over
the market.
Yeah, he is. He's got shops. It's funny because we walked into one of his shops and there's cookery books and Ben was like, God, he looks old now. I thought, I really hope he's in here. And you have to face the man that you just said, God, he looks old.
Did though. Because he had older books where he obviously looked like a different person. Poor Rick. If you listen to this, Rick, I don't mean it.
We love you.
Imagine if
you had a lot of fish on the menu, so it weren't my cup of tea.
I mean, what do you expect?
I don't know.
So Padstow is your favourite, other than the weird smell. And the
weird smells.
And where everybody in unison check the bottom of their shoes to make sure there's no poo on it.
Shitty. Yeah. What about yours?
I enjoyed Falmouth.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that little spot in between Newquay and Padstow.
Oh,
No, we stayed there. Whitsand Bay is where we stayed.
Watergate Bay.
Watergate Bay, that was lovely.
That looked beautiful.
If there is any locals...
let us know because we will come and visit.
But we, I thought Falmouth was really cool.
Just far.
Falmouth just wasn't what I expected.
Oh, I saw someone on Instagram, Giovanna Fletcher.
Oh, yes.
Do you actually know who that is? You're impressed?
Because she does a podcast.
She does.
Yeah.
She was in Falmouth like 3 days after us. It looked like a completely different place.
Well,
so it was like
sunny.
a harbour, like she went on the beach. Like we definitely missed some of it.
We did. We walked up and down that bit of the street.
And didn't go the opposite
Went
direction.
into the bagel shop and then left because it was peeing it down.
Yeah. So there was more to it. And I thought, oh, it looks lovely. But the sun was out.
I feel like we need to go back to Falmouth and do it justice.
Properly, yeah.
Not Penzance though. Penzance can get in the bin.
Yeah, it wasn't for us, was it?
No, other than a swimming pool that looked really depressing.
Yeah, and then it rained. It didn't help.
No. And do you know what? Whenever it rains, that's why we probably have more of a nicer time when we went to Newquay and Padstow.
Yeah.
And the bit of St Ives we went to as well, because on those days it was sunnier. By the time we got to Penzance on that day, it was peeing it down.
And then in St Ives we had the moment with the birds.
Yeah, so Emily started a fight with a seagull.
I've never heard a bird make the sound the seagull made.
You shut your pants.
It was like, I was like, oh, sorry. I dropped by accident a piece of my Cornish pasty and this bird made it very known to all the other birds that it was his piece of pasty.
And I find it quite incredible that you've got to the age of 27 and you'd never had a Cornish pasty.
Cornish pasty?
Cornish pasty before.
Yeah, I know. It was good though. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I thought you'd like it. I thought it was a bit strange.
But we are back from our little staycation. Boo, indeed.
The night of when we came back really late. Do you want to tell that story?
What story?
And our hut was being overtaken by woodlouse.
Oh my God, I thought Ben was going to cry.
That was so insane.
We got back from our dinner out and there was woodlouse everywhere over the decking and Ben was like, open the door! There's woodlouse everywhere! I thought, okay.
I thought it was being eaten by woodlouse, but then Emily left the keys in the door all night.
I know, that's crazy, isn't it? Just said to the girls, actually, and they're like, do you have a nice time? I was like, yes, I didn't sleep for the first 2 days. Oh, no, why? I was like, because this is where I genuinely, in my head was like, I'm going to die in this hut.
We were in a
log cabin on the side of a cliff in the middle of nowhere, and Ben has to sleep with a window open. And I just thought, this is it. This is where a mass murderer comes in, gets me, kills me, and no one will ever know.
The funny thing is, though...
You lot would have known. You'd be like, where's the podcast? Are those two okay?
The first few nights, Emily had this because I had the window open a little bit. The third night, she slept like a baby, but I had the keys in the front door.
Yeah, well, make it easier by that point, whatever is what it is. But yeah, I thought this is where the mass murderer comes and gets me.
Okay. Moral of the story, Cornwall's lovely.
It was lovely. We had a great time.
It was good.
Make sure you bring your keys to your house inside.
Yeah, and watch out for them woodlice.
Woodlouses.
In the news.
In the news. So this week, I'm just going to briefly touch on, there's been some changes to the EYFS coming out. Well, they're out, but the changes come into play from November. But I'm
only like a week away.
Yeah.
Ish.
So I'm going to break that all down in next week's Monday episode of Diary of an Early Years Educator. Oof. So that's coming on Monday.
Friday, we don't know what you're talking about yet.
No, haven't decided on Friday yet.
Maybe talk about Big Brother. I'll come in for that one.
You can't come in for that one, Smart. Do you know what? Maybe I will talk about Big Brother. That is such a good idea.
Big Brother?
Big Brother. Although it's very neat. If people don't listen to it, they're going to be like, oh, whatever.
I know, but there's a lot. Do you know what? At this season...
So much to unpick.
But at this season, there's been a lot of bits you could talk to in relation to working early years. Because in early years, you work really close to people all the time. And it's all about team dynamics and stuff.
I'm not being funny, though. I'm not enjoying this year as much as last year, but I think it's because they're stressing me out. Like, I walked away from the table last night.
It's because they're all trying to control, though.
Oh, God. But
both...
Hannah is starting to slowly become my favourite. Lily, there will be no wiping bogies on people. Do not scream in people's faces. We wash our clothes. We clean up after ourselves. She's like putting her through her paces.
She's going through a boot camp, isn't she?
I love it.
She'll start writing her letters.
Oh,
she'll start doing her HR stuff and start sending letters to her.
So funny. I just love her. She's making my favourite.
Sometimes I struggle to understand her.
You do. You're like, what did she just say?
Isn't that English?
But she's so funny. But yeah, maybe I will, because we've got different opinions on Big Brother at the moment.
Yeah, well, no, I'm bored of Ali and Khalid now. I want them both
I feel
to
like
leave.
I've been manipulated by both of them and I don't like it.
They're both really controlling personalities and they're both really trying to control in different ways. Ali's a very intelligent and calculated person, but it's just not working. And she's getting really frustrated. But then also Khalid is the same.
I'm finding myself at the centre of all the drama. You are the drama.
But she's trying to do it in quite a tactile way, where Khalid's doing it in...
We're done.
Quite a...
No, we're done.
Khalid's doing it in...
Mic drop.
Khalid's doing it in quite a... Like secondary school sort of way. He wants to get everybody like his confidence. And that's why he's struggling with Izaz, because Izaz's gone, actually, you know what, fuck this. No, I'm not. I don't want to be your mate. With you. I'm not involved. And he sat there like heartbroken.
It's all a bit much. But maybe I'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Right. What are we talking about today?
Well, I thought we'd play a little game.
We kind of not talked about what we just talked about when we were recording, talked about Big Brother instead.
What do you mean?
We did just touch upon Liam Payne, but are we not going to... We'll do that another time.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
We can do. I just said, take one of this week's recording.
Yeah.
I talked about the fact that just before our holiday, the Friday episode of Diary of an Early Years Educator was all about my love of boy bands and being a fangirl and going to see McFly and things like that. And then last week, the news broke about Liam Payne sadly passing away. And it's just, I don't know, we've kind of been talking a little bit about it as well, haven't we? And it's just really sad.
Because you're coming from two places, because you're obviously a big fan of One Direction growing up, and I know very little, if anything, at all about them.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just more picking at like the reasons behind it, I guess, more. And the fact that from the outside looking in, you'd think, oh, he's got everything, the money, the lifestyle, blah, blah, blah. And I think often, we've said in the original podcast, there's a limit, isn't there, to how much value wealth has.
Yeah.
I think once it gets you financial freedom, in the sense of you're not constantly able to check your bank account, you can buy things and do certain things within a scope. You haven't got endless amounts of money, but you can live your life comfortably. After that point, money has less of a benefit. The benefit gets less and less and less and less. Because once you're a multi-millionaire, becoming then a billionaire, in the grand scheme of like happiness, I don't really think that makes that much difference. So like, what to do instead of flying first class, I can now buy my own private jet. Like, whoop, like brilliant, like great for you. Whereas going from every month scraping by to get through to then suddenly actually never having to worry about finances, that's massive.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah.
So I think the benefit of money, I would say, gets less and less. So I think when then we talk about people's happiness and they've got everything, I think then relationships and people in your life and freedom to do things, all those things then have more of a prominence and more of an importance. And I was just asking you about, do you think since One Direction split up and then being so early in their lives and achieving so much so young, do you think he sort of felt lost or like he'd done everything in life? And
I don't have a sense of done everything because he had a very young child, so... Yeah. He still
but even that's with a relationship that broke down, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. They started their journey at 60 when he was 16. So it's like he's not known any different. He was thrown in with 4 strangers and they just had to take on the world and they did. and they were unbelievably successful. But you don't know what it's like to not be able to leave your house without somebody taking a photo of you or wanting to know what you're doing or judging everything that you do.
So it's always Justin Bieber you see in the news, like.
And he always looks rough as shit.
To be fair though, whenever you see it, he's always. I always feel for Justin Bieber more than anyone because you always seem like reasoning with them, not going full Kanye West where you just punch them in the face.
So can you just give me like a bit of space? I just think unless you know it and you've been in it, I don't think you can judge it because
it's a difficult one.
You don't know what it's like to have somebody scrutinise every single thing that you do. TikTok comments scare the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And I don't even talk about anything personal, really. I think me talking a little bit about my mum, your dad, and my love of boy bands is about as personal as I've ever got.
And the thing is as well, that the people taking their photographs and following around are just doing their jobs. They're only doing it because there's a lot of people.
Paid and,
but there's obviously a demand for it.
Yeah.
We all look at the photographs and stuff. So it sort of goes full circle. We can blame the photographer, but in reality, it's just a vehicle within a machine, isn't it? Of what?
No, the person that took the picture of his body on the floor, I feel like shouldn't have taken that photo.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That photo,
At the very least,
didn't
whichever
have to
publication put it out.
Shouldn't have done that either.
Yeah, it was a bit much.
But yeah, I don't know. It was very, very sad. And I think it's funny because like you said, I've been a fan of boy bands literally since I could remember. And it's a different kind of grieving when it's like when I talked about the loss of Tom Parker from The Wanted. And that was, I got home and cried. Do you remember? I literally looked at you and I was like, Tom has died. And I just burst into
panicked. I was like, "Fuck's Tom?"
Yeah, it was Tom. Like, what's happened? And I was really upset because you're grieving for somebody that you don't know.
No.
But you're grieving for somebody who meant a lot for different points in their life. So for diehard One Direction fans, that news last week will have been heartbreaking. Like I genuinely...
I guess so. The only difference is for like, in terms of your relationship with these people, like that doesn't change anything because that music's still there.
Yeah. I really struggle to listen to The Wanted now though.
Oh, really?
Because I really, really struggle because if I hear his parts, I get really... I can sit in the car and I just cry. Yeah. I didn't know him. He doesn't have a clue who I am. His family don't know who I am. I didn't like... But the memories of that music was so joyous, and then you remember that person, you're never going to hear that person sing again. It's just, I don't know, it's really hard. And there was another loss the week before of a football player who played for the club that I support, came for our academy. And I said to you, that's the first loss in football that has genuinely knocked me for six. Because everyone else has been older, like my dad watched him, like, do you know what I mean? It's not...
I think it's different when someone your age goes, or younger than you. I think that has more of an impact.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're younger and it's someone in their 50s, 60s,
you think,
still young, but in your age, someone 50 when you're, I don't know, 15, is still quite old.
So I think that knocked me for six as well.
I'd say the news of Chris Hoyt as well.
Really sad.
Yeah, that... Do you know what? It seems to be endless these days. And every week there seems to be some shit news of some sort.
I said to you, why do we not have like, why is there never happy news? Why is nobody talking about the good things that are going on?
Because if you did, I feel like any company that was like, there's
got to be a market for it.
Yeah, but all you do is happy news.
Yeah, like
because
when you turn the radio on and the news starts. Last week we were driving around and I thought, Jesus Christ, this is so depressing. Because this doesn't set me up for a good day.
You get berated by people for not focusing on the important things. They'll be like, why are you talking about this when there's people dying here or there?
This is the Good News Daily. That's why.
So little segment.
We only talk about the good news. If you want to listen to all the other news, head over to the news station. This is the Good News Daily, and we're talking about the good stuff.
Finishing the news in the Middle East, and now we turn to Marjorie in Suffolk with her Labrador. Look how cute he is.
Look how cute this guy is. I just think I don't know. We talk about teaching children to hear the positives and look at the positives and look at happy, like, give us something, because it's something, as you get older, everything just gets really sad.
It's the world, isn't it? Well, it is quite a sad place, especially at the moment.
This is taking a really sad turn, so sorry, let's carry on with what you were actually going to do today.
Should we get into the main section?
Sorry, we've jumped on for nearly 15 minutes about really sad stuff. But I do just want to say that if you are affected by the loss last week, or if you've had loss like that, I think it's really important to understand that how you feel about it is totally valid. And if you're upset by something, then you should talk to someone about it, because there's no point in pretending that you're feeling okay even if you don't feel like you should be upset about something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We'll say it, mate. Yeah. So,
Right, what are we doing today? Because I've got no idea. I've just got back from one of our nurseries and Ben has told me nothing.
next week,
Oh,
we're going to do Room 101,
Halloween edition.
Halloween style.
I hate Halloween.
And then in a few months after that, we'll do a
I'm
Christmas
putting
special as well.
Halloween in the bin.
Can't put the whole thing in.
I am, all of it.
Well,
Right.
then that just ends the show.
And then we can go, it's time. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell.
Have you
Yes.
seen someone next door to us have already put their lights out the front of their house? You know, when you drive in on the right-hand side, they've got that Christmas tree up, the Christmas tree, but it's actually in the ground. Weird way of describing it. They've got their lights
Ready?
up.
Can we do ours?
No, it's October.
Yeah, it's fine.
No.
It's fine.
I like to put our lights up so they're only up for 3 weeks and we go to all that effort. They're up for like 20 days.
Right, come on, what are we doing?
So this week, I thought we'd play a little game
Oh, no.
where I've got 15 statements
Oh, Jesus.
and you've got to tell me if they're true or false. And they're all early years inspired. And they're
Is it like true or false for me, or is it like factual true or false? Is it like opinion based or factual?
a bit of both. They're,
Right, okay.
they're quite ambiguous.
Can I fight my corner either way?
Yeah. I want to
Okay.
discuss each one. I don't want to just fight for them.
Oh, okay. God, how long is this going to be?
This is
Everyone grab a cup of tea.
This is a 4-hour special. No, point number 1.
Yeah.
An early years environment focused solely on cognitive development is most effective for long-term success in school. Is that true or false, Emily?
False?
Go on then.
Because
Back your point.
an environment should focus on more than just cognitive development. It should focus on physical development as well.
Just physical development?
All holistic development.
What type of development?
Oh, I don't know. You throw me on the spot.
I haven't thrown you on the spot.
I don't know.
Think about it. So if in early years we only focused on cognitive learning and development, you're then leaving out all of the other aspects, right?
Yeah, that's what-
especially
yeah.
I would especially example emotional development.
Yes,
I like
emotional,
emotional
physical,
development is probably
You've got
more
all sorts
important.
going on. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think false. Is that correct?
So the bit with it is that it challenges educators to think beyond just academics and recognise the importance of emotional and social development.
There you go.
So you've passed them all on. Well done. Though
I
that
feel
was
so stressed. I don't like this. I feel like I'm in a test.
number 2.
Go on.
True or false? Children should always be discouraged from taking risks in the early years
False.
setting to ensure their safety and well-being.
False.
Go on.
Take risks. You're only going to do it once if it really hurt.
It's the spirit.
No, children have to learn risks. They have to learn their own boundaries. They have to know what they're capable of doing. They have to manage risks. They have to learn that some things are dangerous and some things aren't dangerous. So yeah,
No,
no.
it's not just a physical risk as well. There's other risks we take in life, like befriending people.
Yeah.
And then the upset of actually little Tommy, who's always your friend's actually going to go play with Bertie. They've left you, but it's okay to try and make friends and take that risk sometimes because otherwise you just become secluded.
Yeah.
And there's other elements. There's educational risks, there's doing something and trying out theories and ideas and failing, but then eventually you get it right, and lots of different ways we can talk about
Yeah.
development.
So no, children should take risks.
When a child consistently resists group activities, the focus should be on changing their behaviour to fit in with the rest of the group.
No. If I
True.
forced you into social situations all the time and group activities, you'd probably hit me. So no. Every child learns differently. That child clearly doesn't feel comfortable to be in that environment, but you should encourage them to take part and want to join in with others because it's part of social learning and doing those things. But it shouldn't be a focus on changing the behaviour of the child. Maybe you need to do it in smaller groups. Maybe you need to change the environment that you're doing that activity in, etc. So
You've
no.
done a lot on group time recently, haven't we? We've got about 3 or 4 new classes
Yeah.
that have gone up the last 30 to 50
Still got
days.
one to edit.
One to come next week, realistically. And they all focus on group times. And I think in early years, one of the biggest values that we have is on the individual child and conforming as much as we can. I also think it's one of the things that practitioners struggle the most with, especially when you have a child. Let's use the example of struggling to regulate their own behaviours, especially if they're then non-verbal and there's other
Yeah.
potential barriers as well there. When it comes to group activities, that can be
Really difficult.
and then if you've got a number of children in a group who struggle with concentration and again non-verbal, etc., that can really challenge people. So I think having a support mechanism, having strategies around it to support them, support the children and encourage them to be part of group things and get the most out of that social learning as possible, but also having, I think, realism, a sense of realism about what you can achieve and not forcing children and changing behaviours and learning styles as well as much as anything. I just shouted down the microphone. Children need clear and direct adult instruction during play to ensure it is a valuable learning experience. True or false?
Oh, bit of both.
I think the statement's false because it says children need clear and direct adult instruction, but they don't always need that.
They don't always need it, but sometimes adult interaction does help to learn through play, but they don't always need it.
No, and I think
so. It's a bit of both.
I think it's false because you need that child-led element to it.
Yeah,
and you need a good interaction between child-led and adult-led, and there needs to be a balance. Whereas this statement makes it sound like child-led play isn't beneficial, but adult-led is only.
So 50-50.
Yeah, I think there has to be some self-directed play in there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And if you can encourage...
These have all been false so far.
And if you can mesh...
Are they all false?
I think so. If you can mesh the two together, you'll somehow come on a good thing. True or false? Social skills are best developed in large group settings where children learn how to interact with a variety of peers.
No, true.
So you're saying? You're going to back yourself on this?
I do agree that children need to be surrounded by others to learn social skills. Not saying they can't learn social skills, not in a large group setting where they can interact with other people, but the more people that you are surrounded by, the more open you become to other people and cultures and languages and things like that.
I think I'm hoping at some point you'll notice the pattern that actually these aren't black and white. All the answers are in the grey.
Yeah.
But I think it's nice because this actually breaks a load of topics into one thing. And I think with this one, social skills are best developed in large group settings. I think it's the word large.
That's like it doesn't have to be a large group setting, but
it doesn't even have to be a group because you can learn social skills one-on-one. Children can have opportunities to share and work together and operate in that social element in just two of them.
Yeah, I think you just don't learn as much about society if you're only...
I don't know. I feel like if I sat down with somebody who was from, let's say, Lebanon, and I had a one-on-one conversation with him about his ethnicity, his background, you could learn a lot.
It's saying that children learn from group settings. If children are only with parents one-on-one,
you've got parents.
School. No, you're saying children learn best in group settings. So I'm not saying you can sit down with someone from wherever you like. I'm sure you could learn lots about them. But for children, what is the likelihood they're going to spend time one-on-one with a person from another country at the age of 2, if that's not in their environment? Like, if my child was with me the whole time, if I had a child...
Maybe you need to set them to Lebanon.
And they need to...
Don't, not at the moment.
No. They need to... I want to teach them about the world around them. I'm going to introduce them to lots of things. They're not going to learn about other cultures from me because that's not... Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I'm assuming they're already going to a setting. They'd have to be in large groups.
No,
they can
setting.
Do it in school.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
They can do it in 1-to-1, 1-to-2. Like they can do it within...
Yeah, okay.
Place. If a child struggles with transitions between activities, it is a sign that they may not be ready for a structured learning environment.
No. Next. Joking. No, I think children struggle with transition because it's maybe a unknown of what's coming next, a frustration of having to finish what they're doing, whatever that might look like. But it doesn't mean they're not ready for structured environments.
Yeah, I think...
Probably means they're actually craving it even more so because they need to know what's happening and when.
I think there's more at play there when it comes to children's coping mechanisms as a whole and their ability to regulate themselves, the support that they get to help regulate, i.e. your flow of the day, your routines, your patterns.
Yeah.
That sounds to me more of an internal reflection in terms of what us adults are doing.
No routine, so that's why children are frustrated,
Because then that's the first cause of reflection. If the routine's really strong, you do the same things every day and the child struggles with certain things as you go from one activity to the other, then of course look at other things. But I think first and foremost is about making sure that the child understands, are we giving them a different... 1 minute he gets 40 minutes to do a certain play in the morning, so then the next minute he gets 10 minutes to do it, and it's inconsistent like that, then you are likely to see more deregulation from the child. So, I think it's more at play there than just...
Definitely. Your fault.
True or false? Using It's just weirdly written. Using praise regularly for good behaviour can lead to a child becoming... not phrase. Using praise regularly for good behaviour can lead to a child becoming overly dependent on external validation.
True. Because if a child is constantly...
I feel like one of the maths teachers who's like, okay, Emily, now show you working out.
I think if a child is always doing something for the external reward, they don't do it for themselves in the end. So it becomes like a tick box exercise. Oh, I've tidied up because I get a sticker. That's great. But have you tidied up because you take pride in what you're doing? It's a little bit like we said about the conversation for Big Brother. Hannah wants Lily to change her mindset. And she wants her to be like, no, I'm a clean person. I can be bothered to clean up after myself. She doesn't want her to do it for other people. She wants her to do it for herself. So I think that's,
Goes down the argument of extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation.
Which we've talked about before,
And I think,
haven't we?
I think finding ways to motivate children, and a lot of that motivation comes from finding things that interest them and piques their interest, and also exposing them to new things. Constantly just relying on external reward will have its benefits up to a point. It's a little bit like when we spoke about money at the start of this podcast. So we said after a point money becomes like wealth collection.
Those
becomes less valuable. But it doesn't just have to be stickers, but external validation after a moment in time. You can link external and internal, and at that point you're onto a good thing because you're rewarding a child for something that they also internally feel good for.
That's what I mean.
So you're validating that feeling good and that release of dopamine. And as a result, that will likely happen more because the brain and the body will learn that this actually makes me feel good and I want to repeat this experience.
Yeah.
Children under 5 do not yet have the capacity to feel empathy. So focusing on teaching it should be delayed until later childhood.
No. No. I think the teaching of children to just say sorry is pointless because sorry just becomes a word. So like,
you do that as an adult, don't you?
Oh, he punched me. But I said sorry. Brilliant. But you still punched somebody. So let's unpick that first. So I think it's not about, it's how we teach empathy and how, let's teaching emotion of this is how you've made somebody else feel through your actions.
Do you know one of the best tricks I always find with that when you're talking about preschoolers? Ask them why they're sorry.
Yeah, I always do that, yeah.
What just came out of your mouth?
Did I say?
Right.
I said, yeah. So I agree. You say, okay, that's fine, you're sorry, but why are you sorry?
Yeah.
What is it you did? What are you sorry for? Yeah.
Getting them to explain the reasons for why they're sorry can actually be quite impactful because then you're just moving away from it just being a word to escape a social situation to actually getting them to think about it.
We had a little boy. He said the word fuck, but he'd go, oh, fuck. Oh, sorry. So he'd learn that if he says that, he has to apologise. Oh, fuck. Oh, sorry. That's so good. It's so funny.
It's like my story where I always tell about the man, the dog shitting in the living room. I've told that story on the podcast before. We wouldn't go back.
Next one. What number are we on?
9.
Okay.
You feel like you're more comfortable with this now?
No, I'm really on edge.
It feels a bit like
I feel like I want a quiz.
It must be a millionaire.
Yeah. I'd like to phone a friend.
A highly structured daily routine is the best way to ensure that children feel secure and learn effectively.
True. I agree with that. I think children do need to have a routine to feel safe with the people around them. They need to know where they're going, who they're going with. And yeah, I agree with that.
The only thing the only one bit from a demographic point of view is the word highly structured. I think it's important to have a structured daily routine, but highly structured, for me...
You're just nitpicking.
Well, I am, but I'm also... I made the questions. So I know which words I'm going to pick out. For me, it just highlights the importance of having flexibility and being able to adapt to the individual and being able to... You might have a...
Do you know what I would say to that? That's that adults having a flexibly structured routine. The children need to have a very structured routine. I think we need to be able to adapt to them. Because there's always that in a baby room when a baby comes in and they have a bottle at a different time for everybody. Tough. That is that child's routine. We have to be flexible for that child's routine.
I'm thinking slightly older. I'm going to
I was
preschool.
going younger. Babies.
Well, I'm going into fetuses then.
Weird sentence.
No, but even with children, the preschoolers and activities, having the flexibility to maneuver around the learning outcomes and where you think it's going. I think that's...
Yeah, but that's not a routine structure. Routine structure is we have snack at this time, we have lunch at this time.
Depends how highly structured your daily routine is. Like, you will play with this toy at this minute.
There you go. It's a little bit like our friends who we saw who've just had a baby, and she fell asleep on me when she shouldn't have been asleep, and I really tried to wake her up without being like, hello, wake up.
Yeah, you caused mischief.
No, she still woke up. She had a little cat. We'd been for a walk, she had a bowl, she was really tired.
I could have had a cat. I drove so many miles.
I tickled her toes, she woke up.
You do that to me. Addressing challenging behaviour in early childhood should primarily focus on setting clear boundaries and consequences.
Oh, yes and no. I think children need to learn that there's consequences to their actions, but it shouldn't solely be on that. Like, challenging behaviour can come from, it's always a communication. So what is that child trying to tell us? So giving them different outlets on that.
I think the biggest thing is, I think too often we focus on clear boundaries and consequences, but you ignore
the root cause of why behaviour. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think children do need to learn that even if you're really, really cross and angry, you can't just break things. You can't just... So I understand that you're sad, and we'll get to that bottom of that situation, but the response isn't acceptable. So it's learning, it's figuring out the why and understanding why the child has gotten to that heightened state of emotion, but also teaching them that that action that you presented isn't acceptable and that consequence is going to happen. Yeah. So once you've calmed down, you will go and pick up all the books that you've just thrown across the room. You won't do it while you're in this heightened state. There's no point. But once you have calmed down, you need to understand that you can't throw everything around. So
I think that's the important thing. I think bad practice is just to say you're on the naughty step because you've misbehaved.
Yeah.
And you're then completely ignoring the reason, the why behind their actions. Yeah. The reason, the why behind their actions might be as simplistic as they didn't get their way.
Yeah.
But it also might be as complex as a multitude of other reasons laid on top. Might all be really small things that have built up something big. So it is really important to investigate other than just punishing children.
Yep.
Children learn best from adult-led activities rather than peer interactions, as adults can provide more accurate information and structure.
No, children need to interact with everybody.
Yeah, this is going back to what we talked about earlier, and the importance of peer interactions and children learning between themselves. Quiet children who observe more than they participate in group settings may not be absorbing information as well as their more vocal peers.
No, not true. They probably pick up on more.
This might shock you, but I remember when I was always in uni and we're in these type of things, I was always one of the quietest in the room.
Shut up.
I was.
No, that doesn't surprise me.
Because when it comes to like learning and stuff, I learn best quiet. I like to read textbooks and where other people learn best through engaging in conversation and things. So for me, I can never be asked. I never saw the value in going and hear my own voice.
You can say that the children who are quieter in a setting aren't learning as much because we know that children all learn differently. So yeah, no, I don't agree with that.
No, and you can learn from others. You can see why other people get rewarded. You can conform with norms in society.
See how they use different resources.
Yeah,
you can do with that.
And you can see so-and-so's done this and they've benefited them. Oh, I look up to that person, and so I'm going to model my behaviour and things around there. And that, and you don't have to say a word to pick up on those little things in society. No. Children's behaviour at nursery is primarily a reflection of their home environment and parenting practices.
50-50.
Interesting one, actually, that.
I think a lot of children's behaviours and mannerisms and morals and stuff does come from being at home and the parenting and things like that, but it's not solely based on
it. Also depends on how much they spend at nursery. Some children can be from 7:30 to 6, 5 days a week in a nursery setting. In that instance, you can't just purely point a finger at home life.
No.
They're very rarely there.
No. I do always find that Monday mornings are worse than Friday afternoons, though. Because everything you've done the week before has been unravelled. And you have to start again on Monday.
Yeah, but you also probably find a lot of our behaviours is probably worse on Mondays, either because you're hungover or you're just a bit pissed off. It's not the weekend anymore.
I don't really drink, actually. So.
I'm not talking about just you, Emla.
Well, I'm the only one in this room, Ben.
Yeah.
Bit of both. Nature versus nurture, huh? We're not getting into that now.
Oh, don't. The use of emotion coaching techniques with children is best reserved for those.
Sorry, can you say that again? I was looking at you, but I was not listening.
Right, we concentrating.
Yeah. Sorry, I literally was like, no, none of that has gone in. Go again.
We in the room?
I'm with, yeah.
The use of emotion coaching techniques with children is best reserved for those who exhibit consistent behavioural issues.
No, everyone should. This is like when people are like, we use visuals for our neurodiverse children. Brilliant. But those visuals will probably support your neurotypical children as well. So just use it for everybody.
It's even like sign language and stuff.
Yeah.
We
don't have any children who are deaf, so we don't use sign language. Right. Fantastic. But sign language isn't just for deaf people. It's for you can use it for children who are, what was the word?
Mutism?
Yes, selective mutism. Thank you.
That's right.
Those children might be able to use sign language as a different outlet of communication. Children who are learning to talk, signs can go alongside it. So yeah, just because it's not designed specifically for the other children, they can still benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, these are all my points. I'm not convinced you passed.
What?
I think
100%.
I'm going to give you a D.
Shut up.
A D for...
Dude, you killed it.
Do better next time.
Oh.
Now, you did like to say I threw you under the bus. I might do another one of these one day. I just quite enjoy
One
it.
day. Can I do one for you?
You can't.
Do an NFL one?
No, I want to do early 2000s to 2023 Leeds United.
Okay, I'll do that.
Or the life and times of Marcelo Bielsa.
Okay, I'll get on that. I'm sure you'll all enjoy that.
I'm sure there'll be a riveting podcast for all who listen.
Right.
Happy?
Happy? Are you happy?
Yeah, good to be back.
Good to be back.
And then, like you say, next week, big Halloween special.
Special.
Should
we dress up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know what else. I might come as Shaun the Sheep.
Brilliant. And on that note, I'll see you on Friday for an episode of A Diary of an Early Years Educator, and on Monday, so Friday and Monday, and then Ben will be back next Wednesday.
And I'm hoping to have your latest cast out next week.
Perfect.
Cool.
Have a lovely rest of your week, everybody.
Enjoy.
We'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.